Yes. In the previous class, we have discussed regarding to the list and list methods. What are the different kinds of list methods which we have to use in practice in the Python has been discussed in the previous class, and we also have given different examples regarding to list methods which we have to use in Python. So everything has given. So if you have any questions in the list methods, so I have already given you some instruction that you have to give some kind of questions through Google Classroom, otherwise through mail or through WhatsApp also. So I will answer them. So okay, today we'd like to, of course, list might be completed within few couple of minutes. So before going to complete the list, I'd like to introduce one more new kind of a data structure, very important data structure. The data structure is the tuple. So importance of a tuple and how a tuple can be get created, and how what are the different activities which are being operated through tuple will be discussed in this particular class. If situation will be time will be permit me, I'd like to I'd like to continue with the list comprehensions. Of course, if you discuss something about the comprehension in terms of list, it could also eligible to operate same kind of comprehensions with the tuples also. There is only one difference between list and tuples. Okay, however, so before going to in detail our differences between list and tuples, let us discuss what exactly the tuple will be and how the tuple will be gets created here. So tuples, these are a peculiar kind of objects which have been created in Python. So it is a sequence of immutable objects. I believe that you people listen this particular word continuously. That is mutable or immutable. So these two words listened by you in our Python course. That is a mutable object or immutable object. Mutable object in the sense you could perform some additions, subtractions, deletions on different kinds of objects. I mean, on the same location, you could perform different kinds of operations. Where on the same location you could not able to perform any additions or subtractions or any other operations on the same object on the same location. So you are unable to perform so those kind of operations, then such kind of object is called as immutable. As far as lists are concerned, in list you could able to extend the list, you could able to append the list, you could able to remove element from the list, and all those operations can be performed by you using list. Whereas in tuple, you could not perform those operations because the tuple is immutable. Once you have to create any tuple, so once for all, the tuple will be fixed. It is not supposed to add some more operations out there. And let us see how the tuple will be gets created. So in this particular point of view, so here is a tuple could be gets created by using so some tuple name. Let me say t will be equal to, as far as the list is being concerned, list will be gets created by taking the assistance of open bracket, something like this. Whereas in tuple, you could take so open parenthesis, then you have to specify your items, how many number of items you are supposed to specify over there, and all those items will be separated by commas. Okay, separated by commas. At the end, you have to close the parenthesis. Obviously, that could be created one particular tuple, and this tuple is a constant tuple. You could not change even single value of the tuple here. You could not change 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into another values. It is not possible because tuple is immutable. Okay, the type of this particular t will be, what is the type? Let us have a look here. So it is a tuple. It is a tuple. Okay, and you cannot access, you cannot change the values of a tuple. since it is immutable. So that is the property where exactly you have to consider here. It is immutable. Okay. Then just before I have given, a tuple is written as a collection of comma separated values enclosed with small brackets. Small brackets. So values must be separated by commas. Okay. Then here, if you want to create an empty tuple, yes, it could be able to create. Okay, before going to take this empty tuple, let us consider these open and closed small braces are not required while you have to create a tuple. That is optional. Okay, you may be taken, may not be taken. That doesn't matter. Let us consider T1 will be equal to, so let me say A followed by B followed by C, comma D. I have to create this particular tuple here. So here I haven't include any kind of open and closed parentheses here. So even then, it could be considered as a tuple here. So take this one, type of T1 will be the tuple. Okay. So this open and closed parenthesis might be taken by you, might not be taken by you. It doesn't matter that open and closed parenthesis is optional. Okay, it is optional. And if you want to create empty tuple, how could you create here in the sense? Empty tuple will be some, let me say T2 will be equal to, so here you must take in this particular the open and closed parenthesis. Without open and closed parenthesis, so that item or the object will not be created here. Now it could be created as a empty tuple. So T2 will be, so let us display the values of T2. It is empty tuple, and the type of that particular tuple T2 will be also equal to a tuple here. You can display the values of T, you can display the values of T2, you can display the values of T1, sorry, T1 I think, yeah, T1, everything could be taken here, everything could be able to display something like this as far as tuples are being concerned here. Now, as far as the tuples are concerned, while creating single element within the tuple, there is a specific care we have to create a single element in the tuple. What is the care you are supposed to take into consideration? Let us take some tuple, let me say T5. For example, it is T5 taken into consideration as T5. So if you take a single element in the sense, obviously you might be taken, so open parenthesis and will be taken some 20, for example, under closed parenthesis. If you are supposed to close like this, it could not be considered as a tuple. It is not supposed to be considered as a tuple. It must be considered as the individual data type, scalar data type as an integer here. For example, let us see type of T5, for example. So you could consider here it is an integer. It is not at all a tuple. Okay. So remember this. Tuple T6 will be equal to, for example, open parenthesis and written by me Newton. Newton. For example, I would like to close something like this and enter something like this and specify the type. Let me say type of T5, for example, T5 is the, T6 is the new tuple which I have taken here. It is not a tuple here. It is a string. Whatever the data type you have been taken into consideration. Okay, let me take one more tuple here. T7 will be equal to open parenthesis, some 123.567, something like this will be taken by you. Now, it's also not a tuple. So type of T7, let us take the type of T7 here. It is a float value. It is not tuple. Please observe the previous declarations. T has been taken something like this. Type of T will be tuple. And second, T has been equal to open and closed parenthesis, which is empty tuple. It's also be given as tuple. Whereas, if you are supposed to create a single elemented kind of tuples, I have been following the same rules and regulations of tuples. Even then, they are not identifying as a tuple here. Look at this. T5 is equal to open closed parenthesis. Within open closed parenthesis, if you specify the 20, it is being identified as integer. So within string T6 equal to as a string Newton could be given, then it has been identified as a string. And if I would give something like this, it has been identified as a tuple. All these three declarations cannot be so identified as a tuple. Then how could you make single elemented tuple? Hope that you how could you identify, so how could you create single elemented tuple here? Then how could you create here in the sense, let us say T8 will be equal to, so will be equal to open. So then you have to take your own value, that is 20. So please specify one comma here. If you specify a comma, then it could be considered as a tuple. If you don't specify comma, it will be taken fundamental data type. If you specify one comma, then whatever the variable you have been taken into consideration, that will be considered as a so tuple here. So this point must be remembered by you while you have to attend any kind of interviews. You must take care while you have to attend interviews. So previously, I have taken something like this T5 equal to so 20 within open and closed parentheses. It has been identified as integer. Now the same operation could be done by me by enclosing one comma here, one simple comma here. If I would put comma here, then it could be identified as tuple. So that is the difference between a single elemented tuple and with comma, without comma. Without comma, it is being identified as so its own fundamental data type. With comma, it could be identified as the tuple. Okay, that is the point you need to remember here. You need to remember. Of course, creating a single element is slightly different here. What is the different here in the sense? You have to put a particular comma. Okay, so you need to put a comma after the element to declare as a tuple. Okay, if you are not supposed to place comma so after that particular element, it could not be identified as a tuple. It could be identified as the general variable. Okay, so that is the point where exactly you need to consider, you need to take care. So while creating any kind of tuple here. Okay, then followed by tuple could be also indexed. Indexed in the sense values of that particular tuple will be gets identified by taking its index value as like as the list here. List elements will be identified as a list of one, sorry, list of zero, list of one, list of two, list of three, and so on and so forth. You can able to identify in the similar fashion here. So look at this. Look at this. How the things will be gets identified here. Look at this. Um, TUP. TUP will be equal to, so open parenthesis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay, 8 up to these elements that have been taken. Then TUP of, so the index values could always specify with only square brackets. Okay, TUP of 0, which will be gives you 1, the value of 1. This is identified as 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, so this is 6. Okay, something like that. So in this way, you could able to identify it. If you want to write a small program to display all these elements with the indices here in the sense, you could write something like this. So some C will be equal to 0, and so for I in TUP, okay, then print what you are supposed to print here in the sense TUP of I, sorry, percentile D followed by equal to percentile D. What does it means? TUP of 0 equal to 1, TUP of 1 equal to 2, something like that. I would like to mention in such a way, comma, TUP of, there is no comma because it is permitted output. So there is no comma, percentile of, so first the TUP of identifier is C, so followed by the actual element will be taken into consideration as I. Okay, it will be taken. The count will be gets increased. Count plus will be equal to unequal to, so this one here. Look at this. So TUP of 0 will be equal to 1 here. TUP of 1 equal to 2 here. This is the value. TUP of 2 equal to and so on and so forth. Okay, like this you could able to write a small for loop is very much useful in Python. Okay, in all other languages for loop cannot be, but in for loop in Python for loop is very important and very much useful. So to write some comprehensions on lists and lists and so tuples. Okay, however, whatever it may be, this is the way to produce the output here. Okay. So like this, you could able to index your tuple values as like as the list here, and also you can slice them. Slice in the sense I'd like to display right away from 1 to 4. Only those elements I'd like to display here. So TUP of 1:4. Whatever the regulations you have been followed in the lists and strings, same thing will be gets followed. There is no problem at all. Same thing will be gets followed. Okay. So TUP of 1:. So right away from first location to end of the tuple, everything will be gets displayed. Okay. TUP of some so 5 to 5 colon 5 colon fifth location to all other elements which are being displayed here. So whatever the slice operations you may be follow in with respect to the strings, with respect to the list, yes, everything will be same. There is no difference. Only one difference in between the list and the tuple is list is mutable. So what is that? Tuple is immutable. List is mutable and the tuple is immutable. You must remember this particular point here. Okay. So yes, it could be accessed by using specific index value and so on and so forth. And the basic tuple operations will be you can able to concatenate the two tuples, and on creation of a new tuple you can able to concatenate the two tuples here. So concatenation will be always, so it could be a overloaded kind of operator. This operator can be used to both for arithmetic addition and concatenation in terms of strings, lists, and tuples. Okay, so let me show you. Let me show you how the things will be gets happen here. So let me take TUP1 is one particular tuple. Open this 1, 2, 3, 4. So let me take all of these elements. TUP2 will be taken. So these are the elements. So NUWTON followed by Machala, followed by Kuntur district. Something like this. I'd like to prepare something like this. Two different types of tuples have been prepared. One tuple does have only integers, and TUP2 does have only the strings. Now let me concatenate these two, whether it is possible or not. Let us check it out. Okay. So TUP1 plus TUP2. Yes, it could be possible. It could be possible. If you assign this particular value, I mean TUP1 plus TUP2 could be assigned to some other variable, that will be a new tuple variable which could be concatenation of two different types of tuples, that is TUP1 and TUP2. Let us consider TUP3, so will be equal to TUP1 plus TUP2. We take something like this, yes, it could be gets identified. Now you can take TUP3 as the value which is being outputted here. TUP3 will be produced combination. So either list or tuples will be have different kinds of elements. There must not have only integers, only characters, only strings. It doesn't matter. It could be taken heterogeneous kind of elements. There is no problem at all. There is no problem at all. List can be taken heterogeneous. Tuple can be taken heterogeneous. There is no problem at all. Okay, but so while operating this particular vertical tuple concatenation, yes, this is the way you have to operate the tuple concatenation. But you need to remember one thing. You need to remember one thing. So TUP3 will be equal to TUP3 plus one more tuple, that is let me say 5, 6, 7, so 8. if you are supposed to take something like this, so yeah, concatenation could be tup3. So it could be taken into consideration. Yes, concatenation could be taken into consideration. It could be okay. But you are not supposed to add any more elements. I mean, there is no possibility to delete one particular element from the tuple. There is no possibility to add, I mean, using append, you are not supposed to add any elements from the into the tuple here. So these two are not possible. You are not able to delete any element. You are not change the value of that particular element. These are not strictly. These are strictly prohibited. Let me show you one example here. Let me show you one example. Okay, before going to take those examples, let us take one more operation, that is repetition. Repetition in the sense, so tuple tup1 does have the values like this. So tup1 into 2, for example. So twice I would like to display. Yes, it could be. It could be. You can prepare one more new tuple on a duplication of tuple 1 with tup1 into 2 or tup1 into 5. If it is 5 in the sense, 5 times it could be so regenerated or repeated for number of times based on the second parameter you have been given. So this is next one. And then membership operation could also be operated here, whether so-called element will be existed within the tuple or not existed within the tuple. They may be given either true or false. Let us see. So tup3, these are the elements. Whether so newton in tup3, does it existed with the tup3? Yes, it is true. Yes, it is. Okay. Then whether so uh, Alugurajupalli, this is the value in tup3. tup3, does it existed? No, it is not existed. It is false. Okay. So like this input gets operated. Then if you take not in tuple 3, yes, it is not really existed. So it could be displayed true. Okay. So membership operations could also be done with the tuples here. And then followed by for loop can also be done with the tuple. Already we have seen for loop in the sense this is the way. This is the way to operate for loop here. You could able to define the for loop here. Otherwise, you could also done for so x in tup3. You can display the values of the tuple here. So print x, whatever the value it could be. So these are the values 1, 2, 3, 4, Newton, Master law, Guntur district, and 6, 7, 8. These are the elements which are available with the tuple 3. So you could be able to perform for loop on so tuple something like this. So it could also be gets possible. Now, before going to take all these things, so just I have left over one particular point here. So you never change the values of a tuple. Let us see. So instead of let me say some Guntur disk, so I'd like to change the Guntur disk to GUNPUR. Okay, so that could be available at so this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So tup3 of 6, tup3 of 6 will be equal to so GUN Guntur. I have made the first character as capital and I have assigned this one here. Look at this. Look at this. Tuple object does not support item assignment. Item assignment cannot be gets operated here. It is not supposed to be operate any item assignment because it is immutable. So you could not change the value. Otherwise, there is a function, there is a specific operation. That operation is deletion. DEL. So let me wanted to delete. This is 6, 7, 8, 9. So this location value can be deleted by me. DEL TUP. Wait, delete TUP of let me say some eighth location, whether it is possible or not. Look at this. So tuple object does not support deletion. So it is not supposed to replace the, otherwise remove the element, or it is not supposed to so replace the element. So both cannot be possible here. Then, so whether append operation will be get supported or not. So tup 3.append, already we have seen the same append operation in list also. Let me say append some 10. I'd like to append one more element here, whether it is possible or not. Look at this. Tuple object has no so append attribute because it is immutable. It is not a mutable, it is immutable. IMMUTABLE, immutable. So where exactly immutability will be there, you could not perform all kind of these operations. You could not change the value assignment, and you could not remove the element, and you could not so extend. Otherwise, you could not what you call append a new more element. These operations cannot be done here. These three operations cannot be done here. Okay, that is the point you need to remember here. So after remembering all those things, let us take the operations here. So built-in functions here. First function is length. What is the length of your tuple here? len of tup3. How many number of objects are there here? So totally 10. 10 objects are available. Then next operation will be minimum, maximum, and then minimum and maximum. So minimum, what is the minimum element of that particular thing? MIN of TUP3. What is the minimum element? So here, there are two different types of activities. I mean, elements are there within this particular thing. That is, so TUP3 will be. Look at this. So there are here some integers are available. Here some strings also available. In between strings and integers, you could not operate less than or greater than operations. So if heterogeneous kind of values will be there, you could not operate this particular minimum or maximum. So let us consider. Let me take one more. Let me create one more kind of tuple here. TUP4 will be equal to only integers. For example, only integers. Some 6, 7, 9, and then 9, and then 10, and then 4 already there. 2 already there. So 1 already there. 0, and then 56. Something like this. Some elements are there with me. Now, minimum of TUP4. TUP4. Yes, you could able to operate here. Minimum of tuple 4 will be equal to 0. And then again, you could operate maximum of so TUP that is 4. Yes, maximum of tuple 4 will be equal to 56. Yes, you got 56 here. If you take the same kind of operation here, something like the TUP, so 5 tuple 5 will be equal to, for example, A, then B, then so look at this capital A, then capital B. For example, these are the elements which are available with tuple. Now you can operate minimum of TUP5. Yes, it could be possible because all are characters only. All are characters only. Yes, you can be able to operate here. And if characters will be there for strings, minimum maximum cannot be done. But the characters and the floats, simple characters, floats and integers, yes, you can operate minimum and maximum here. So here, while calculating minimum maximum with the characters, it could be identified. I mean, it could be taken the ASCII equivalent values. Based on that, it could be gets identified what is the minimum and what is the maximum. ASCII equivalent of capital A is 65, which is very much lesser than all these elements, so that we got this value. Maximum in the sense ASCII equivalent of small b is 98, which is very much maximum of all these elements, so that you could get that one. So maximum MEX of so TUP5. Look at this. Okay. In this way, you can operate minimum and maximum. So something like this. Okay. Then what are the differences? Basic differences between the tuple and list. So very careful. You must be careful enough to identify this. Number one, syntax of list will be always be taken open and closed brackets. Okay, square brackets will be taken while you have to create any so list. Whereas the tuple will be so closed, open and closed parentheses. Of course, they are optional. They are optional. Okay. Then So list is mutable. Yes, you can add, you can append any number of elements. You can perform whatever the operation you may be. Yes, you can perform all those operations here. Whereas list will tuple will be immutable. You cannot perform the operations. You cannot replace the value. You cannot reassign the value. You cannot append the value. Once a list will be created, that is the total size of the list. That's all. You cannot change the size of the list. Whereas, sorry, tuple. I'm very sorry. You cannot change the size of the tuple. Whereas, if you consider list, yes, you can change the list size. You can reduce or increase the list size. There is no problem at all. So that is why that is the property of mutability, and not change will be the property of immutability. So that is the third point. The list has the variable length. Yes, you can increase the size of the list, or you can decrease the size of the list based on removal of some elements. Whereas in tuple, you cannot still more people are joining. However, you cannot change the size of number of elements into that particular tuple. During its creation, you have some two elements. You cannot change more than two. Okay, that is why it is fixed. Because of fixing, I mean, length will be fixed. It is memory efficient. Efficiency will be there in tuple. Whereas because of variable length, memory efficiency could not be there. That is the next point here. So it is list provides more functionality than tuple, because you can append, you can count, you can do many number of methods on list, whereas here you could not perform more number of operations. Okay. Then here, so it is less memory so efficient than tuple. What does it mean? Just before I have told you, because it is variable length, we could not know how many number of elements will be there in the list. After creation, once it has been created with empty list, then you could able to perform addition, or extend for several times. Your list element will be very huge. Whereas if you create any tuple, you cannot perform other operations. So that is why tuples are more memory efficient. Because of only one property, that property is immutability. Because of this particular property, these are very efficient. And lists are used. Where exactly we are supposed to use this list here in the sense, there might not have any constraints. Yes, you can able to insert new element, delete new already existed element. You can append element. You can extend the number of elements within the list. Such kind of scenarios cannot be there with you. Then you have to go ahead and use the list. Whereas tuples in the sense, so you have use only for this particular purpose. The purpose is read-only purpose. You could able to use where exactly the read-only probability will be there with your operation. Then that will be called as within those scenarios you could use tuple as your data structure without having any different kinds of operation, without having any constraints. No constraints are there, no restrictions are there. Then you have to go ahead and use this particular list here. Okay. So these are the differences between the list and the tuple. Okay. Basic difference will be, so one more difference is that here. So here you can use your while creation of list, you can use open and closed brackets, whereas you can use here is so open and closed parentheses. Sometimes it is not necessary to use this one. And one more very important point I have left over here, I did not remember to include here. That is, single list item can be created without any taking care. Whereas single tuple element, yes, you must be take care while you have to create single tuple element. Since single tuple element must be required some comma, open parenthesis, single element followed by comma and closed parenthesis. Otherwise, it may not be identified as a tuple. But in list, a single element will be created without hesitation, without any putting commas on there. Okay, so that is one more difference, which is a considerable difference between list and tuples. These are the specific differences between a list and the tuples here. You must remember. Then, very importantly, the comprehensions. This is the specific and a very important property over all other programming languages with the Python. Okay, in Python, yes, you can able to so put some kind of comprehensions. Comprehension in the sense, whatever the story you have with you, you have some 100 number of pages of story will be there. So that particular story will be given to the other person with 2 or 3 lines. That is called as comprehension. Comprehension in the sense, other name of comprehension will be abstraction. So in abstract way, you have to provide the operations. Then that is called as the comprehension here. You may not give that particular. I mean, you may not operate many number of so statements to create one particular list. Let me give you one small example that you could understand very easily while taking the comprehensions here. So there is a scenario with me. There is a specific scenario with me. That scenario is, let me give you. The scenario is, just wait for a while. Where is there? Yeah, my scenario is, so I have a list with me. Some L will be equal to, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on and so forth. Many number of elements are there with me. I wanted to identify, or I wanted to make all these values into its squares. Squares in the sense, same L will be, so I mean, okay, let me create one more kind of list, that is so SQ. So 1 square is 1, 2 square is 4, 3 square is 9, so 4 square is 16, 5 square is 25, and 6 square is 36. Okay, let me identify something like this. For doing this particular kind of business, you may be write some 2 to 3 lines as input here. Okay, so how this could be done? Let us have a look. You could write the same program by using list comprehension and general programming. Let us do this one here. So first of all, we would like to take the list elements. So list elements will be generated something like this. X equal to how could I define this one here? Okay, X equal to some open parentheses, some 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, something like this. Okay. Then followed by so for I in okay, before going to take this one, SQ equal to so empty list for I in so X, the list X. What exactly I would like to perform here? I'd like to square them and add it to SQ. Okay, SQ dot append append of so I into I square. I in the sense the first element of X, second element of X, third element of X, fourth element of X, and so on and so forth. Okay, likewise it could be gets identified. Then after this, so print. Okay, let us do the values outside. Okay, save this one here. Save this one. Yeah. 2021 Python programs. The program name is square.py. Okay, let me run this particular operation. Okay, let me run this particular thing. Okay, so it has been done. It has been done. So now X, these are the elements. SQ, these are the elements. For doing the same business, you are trying to perform. So you are trying to write 2 different types of, 3 different types of lines. These are the lines which you have to perform here. Doing the same kind of operation with a single line, how it could be done? Let us do. This is a simple program which could be done here. The same operation could be done. Let me say SQ1. SQ1 is my new list. SQ1 will be equal to so open list. How I would like to perform here in the sense, let me say I into 2 I square for each I in X. Hope that you understood. Each I in X. I have been prepared something like this. It is the comprehension. This is called as comprehension. This is the way to prepare list comprehensively. So look at this. Yes, it has been executed properly and display SQ1 here. So you have written the same set of statements with of course let us eliminate this particular statement here. So you have create one particular empty list and go ahead with for loop and identify each and every element in the X, and you have to operate append, and so I square whatever it may be, 1 square, 2 square, 3 square, continuously you have been operated for several number of times. Okay, look at this. Same operation could be done by me with single line. Okay, so whatever the operation you could provide here, that must be reflected with the for loop here. Okay, so each and every I will be taken into consideration. Let me take one more application here. Okay, let me copy this particular thing into MS Paint. Then it's very easy to understand. Why do not copy? I don't know why it is not copying here. They didn't copy. Of course, it is not being taken into consideration. However, so let me write. Let me. Okay. Let me make with. Probably it could be enough for you. Could be visible to you. Otherwise, let me increase some of 36. It could be visible to you. What exactly this could be? What this operation could be done here? What exactly could be done here in the sense? So it is always trying to perform some operation. So this is the actual element which could be taken. This is the actual element which could be taken from a list, already existing list. So X here. Okay. From right away from this particular X, you have been taken I, and after picking of this particular I, it must be operate with so this operation. For every element, it must be performed and can be stored into so this element. This is the thing which is being operated here. So this is the let me take other color and I would like to write the complete information. This is the list actually, first element, and second you have to pick up each and every element from the specific list, and this is the operation where exactly you have to perform. This is the operation where exactly you have to perform, and followed by you have to create one particular list something. These are the sequence of operations which could be done in list comprehension. In list comprehension, these are the sequence of operations which could be done here. Okay, hope that you got the points what I have discussed with you here. Now, for time being, let me create one more list here. One more list here with the list comprehension. One more list here. That is number. Number will be equal to. So how I would like to create here is I for I in range of 1 comma. Let me consider some 50. Okay, 50 up to 50. 1 to 50. I would like to take into consideration. Yes, list has been prepared. Now we could take number. These are the elements which are available with me. So preparation of list by using range is very simple. Very simple preparation of a list here. Now I would like to separate even numbers and I would like to separate odd numbers from this particular numbers. Even is separate list will be equal to, so for I, so I for I in the list will be number is the list. Okay, each and every I has been taken, so it will be follow one particular condition. If the I modulus of 2 will be equal to 0, then you have to process it. Otherwise, don't process it. Okay, while processing, if you are supposed to take this particular expression here, this particular expression here. I'd like to copy this one into here. Okay, just wait for a while. I'd like to make some more space here, so that is why it could be easy to understand. Okay, okay. Look at this. This is the specific operation where exactly you have been performed. So here, what exactly you do here is, so you have been taken, you have been taken I, value of I has been taken. This I will be collected from a list that is number. Number is the list here. So while preparing this particular even list, what exactly we are trying to do? Follow this condition. While you have to make that particular list, follow this condition. So preparation of this particular list, third operation, these two will be considered as a third operation where exactly, so I have been discussed in the previous preparation. Look at this. Okay, so look at this. So now let me execute this particular statement. Yes, it has been executed even. Look at this. 2, 4, 6, 8, and so on. Whatever the number, whatever the element you have been picked up from the number is a list here. From the number you have been picked up one particular number here. So that number must be follow this particular condition. Now, in the similar way, you could perform odd elements. Odd will be equal to, so here also I, for I in the same list number, if so I modulus of 2 not equal to 0. Where exactly this condition will be follows? Yes, you can prepare a list for odd. Okay, look at this ODD. All odd numbers will be gets prepared here. Okay, gets prepared here. In this way, you can perform this particular operations here. If you want to eliminate the 5 multiples from the number, yes, you could eliminate. You could eliminate the 5 multiples. How it could be? So F5E will be equal to. So you can pick up one particular element from the number for I in number. So what is the condition you have to follow while picking up one particular element from this one here is, if so I modulus of 5, sorry, yeah, modulus of 5 not equal to 0, they can be available and placed into the 5. Okay, look at this F5E. You could not find any 5 multiples here. 5 is not there, and 10 is not there, 15 is not there, and 20 is not there, 25 is not there, and 30 is not there, 35 is not there, and so on and so forth. 50 also be not there. Okay, so likewise, you can prepare different kinds of so lists, or you can operate so-called operations with a single statement. The statement is called as comprehension. That is called as comprehension. List comprehensions will be gets prepared something like this. Okay. So in this way, we have to prepare the list comprehensions, and this is the class for particular. Of course, let me give you one more example here. So that example will be, for example, I do have 2 lists with me. So list will be something like this. I'd like to consider dynamic lists only. First list will be 1, 2, 3, and the second list will be list number 2 will be 3, 1, 4. So I'd like to prepare a tuple, a list of tuples. List of tuple in the sense a tuple might be having 2 elements. So 1, 3. Sorry, 1, 3 is first element of the tuple, and the second one is 1, 4. So what is the meaning of this particular thing here is open 1, 4. So where exactly, so in this particular list, where exactly both will be get equal, I don't want to prepare that particular tuple here. I mean 1, 1 cannot be available. 3, 3 also not be available in the resultant so list of tuples. Let us have a look about this particular thing here. Is I'd like to prepare some element, some A will be equal to. So I have to prepare a list here. The list must be contained with X, Y. Okay. You must be taken X from one particular list, Y from some other particular list, and you have to follow a condition between these 2 lists. So for X in The list will be 1 comma 2 comma 3. These are the elements, followed by, so for y second element will be, y will be in so 3 comma 1 comma 4. This is second list. So my condition is where exactly elements will be gets equal, that is not supposed to be prepared any kind of what you call tuple in the list. Okay, let us see how this could be. If the x not equal to 1. If x not equal to y, you have to prepare it. If x equal to y, yes, you could not prepare anything. So see this one, a. You could not find, so 1 comma 1, you could not find 3 comma 3. Because 1 and 1 is equal, and here it is 3, 3 is equal here. You could not find those elements here. Okay, if you want to prepare such kind of operations, list comprehension will be useful for you. List comprehension will be very much useful while performing some kind of operations without going in depth with the programming. So this is the way how list comprehensions. Of course, you could operate the same in in a tuple comprehensions also. There is no problem at all. So only problem is tuples is immutable, list is mutable. That is the only difference. Okay? So this is what about the complete so discussion today. Tomorrow we'll go ahead with one more very important point, because I'd like to copy everything and I have to forward this one to you. This one to you in our Google Classrooms. Okay, everything will be gets forwarded to you in our Google Classrooms. Okay, this is what the complete class for today. Let me take the attendance for a while.